you keep bringing it up when it's also not true? And Hailey Van Lith is somebody who came out and said, Caitlyn never did this to other players. She did it to her own strength coach directed toward the bench. And it's so funny because there's actually a community note on this video on X where fans came in and said, Hailey Van Lith already cleared this up in an interview that Caitlin Clark never did that towards her and she didn't do it toward other players also. You keep bringing up, digging up this old dirt and say that that is the reason.
And that's where the WNBA's precarious position becomes crystal clear. Caitlin Clark is no longer just a player. They built contracts, deals, and media projections around her specifically. She isn't interchangeable, she is the engine. When one individual holds that much influence over viewership, sponsorships, and overall league momentum, the stakes shift entirely. The league isn't just negotiating salaries anymore, they're negotiating the stability of the business itself. Globalization amplifies this risk exponentially. If Clark decides to take her talents abroad, it's not a slow drip, it's an immediate hit. London, Paris, Tokyo, those are arenas filled with paying fans, merchandise moving, cameras rolling. The WNBA loses a domino that triggers the collapse of the entire financial and cultural narrative it's built around her. TV networks, advertisers, and partners don't invest in abstract women's basketball growth, they invest in tangible eyeballs and predictable revenue streams. If the product disappears, the money evaporates just as fast. That's why Stephen A. called it economic suicide. The irony is brutal. The union is ostensibly fighting for higher pay and equity, yet the very leverage they're threatening to wield could collapse the only pipeline capable of funding it. In short, the WNBA is trapped by its own dependence on one player's presence. Without Clark, much of the negotiating power, revenue projections, and public momentum vanish almost instantly. The global options she has mean she's not obligated to stay, and anyone ignoring that reality is playing a dangerous game of chicken, one they are almost guaranteed to lose if they don't recalibrate fast.
Caitlin Clark. Now I've taken hits because I was calling it from day one. You got people that are resentful towards her, but it's really not about her, guys. It's about what she represents. Before she ever came along, there were a lot of outstanding basketball players who happened to be black females that was doing their thing on the WNBA level. And they never got this kind of shine.
Exactly. This is the subtle but explosive dynamic that nobody wants to say out loud. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player, she's a leverage machine. Every decision she makes, whether to play, sit out, or ignore rival leagues, carries outsized influence on the league's economics, media narrative, and public perception. Agents recognize this instantly. They see that while the rookies and mid-tier players rely on the system to survive, Clark can operate outside it. She can dictate terms, create scarcity, and still remain relevant in ways that the WNBA itself cannot manufacture, and that's where the tension with veterans comes in. The resentment isn't personal, it's historical. Many spent years grinding overseas, underpaid, flying commercial, enduring physical and financial stress to pave the way. Clark arrives with built-in hype, a massive following, and endorsement deals that make her salary a rounding error. Her success highlights the stark difference between effort and visibility, between legacy earned and legacy amplified by circumstance. That's uncomfortable for anyone invested in fairness, because the metrics of influence have shifted from work done on the court to impact felt in the culture and in wallets. The quiet truth is brutal. If the WNBA halts games or loses her attention, most players lose money, sponsors pull back, and growth stalls. Clark can weather the storm. The rest? They can't. That imbalance isn't ideology, it's arithmetic. And until the league and union acknowledge it, every negotiation, protest, or ultimatum risks collapsing under its own miscalculation. Caitlin holding the unrivaled card isn't just clever, it's a living demonstration of power, leverage, and the new economics of women's basketball.
I had no problem with her being Times Athlete of the Year. You see why I said that she should have been on Team USA? You see why I had to go off on the likes of Cheryl Swoops and others who were clearly distant and dismissive of her, no matter how much they try to deny it? There was resentment towards her. And here's why I said it was stupid. Because when she came into the WNBA, for 22 plus years, they had been flying commercials. They were begging for chartered flights. She arrives there, and 2 weeks later, they got chartered.
Exactly. That's the key. Caitlin Clark flipped the power dynamic entirely, and she did it without raising her voice. The union thought the opt-out was a show of strength, a way to steer the league. Instead, it exposed the league's reliance on her, the fragility of momentum, and the reality that money, fan attention, and media coverage orbit her rather than the institution. She's the engine, and without her, the car doesn't just slow down, it risks stalling completely. The brilliance, and the danger, is in how quietly she executed it. No protest signs, no viral posts, no press tour. Just absence, patience, and leverage so obvious it doesn't even need explanation. The league, the union, even sponsors, everyone is forced to reckon with her influence. Loud chaos can be managed. Quiet inevitability cannot. And that's why Stephen A. framed it as more unsettling than a resignation. It's a reminder that control isn't negotiated, it's earned, and she already owns it. The lesson? Momentum, leverage, and loyalty in sports aren't about contracts or hashtags. They're about people who can't be replaced. Caitlin just made it clear she's irreplaceable.